Hi, I'm Joe Camberato, CEO and founder of National Business Capital. I've helped entrepreneurs all across the country secure over $2 billion in funding for their businesses. On this show today, we've got some awesome entrepreneurs that are going to pitch their businesses.
I feel like you have a little bit of imposter syndrome. In there, you feel uncomfortable taking up space.
If we would have spoken prior to all that, you would have had single-digit interest rates.
Yeah, that would have been great.
You're looking for someone that has a strong business and that has strong potential.
I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for progress. You're a warrior. I brought an answer. I brought the answer. You could see his energy change, and you could see that he started to say things with a bit more confidence.
You haven't known me very long, you don't know how great my word is, but you're gonna find out it's really good.
That's where preparation met opportunity.
Come on. Yes! Okay.
Hi, I'm Joe Camberato, and it's time to get funded.
Fund Tank is presented by National Business Capital. To work with Joe's team, go to nationalbusinesscapital.com/fundtank.
So I'm Steve Perez. I started Invisishield as a one-man show back in 2001. And I went out and would call on dealers and would do the actual work myself. And then I started bringing in people, and then of course, new purchase orders would come around, and I would then be able to hire more people, but of course with more people came more bills. And so over the years I've taken on a lot of overhead, things like buildings and film, of course all these other items that you need to do business, and then of course the employees. I've taken out over 10 merchant cash advances over the last 20 years, and they just can really bottle up your cash flow.
I think we were thinking the same thing. Yeah. It's almost kind of like you're bearing the lead. The core thing will be making sure that you understand how to organize your message. So that you drive with the main point, and then you can build in the details.
She said it perfectly, burying the lead. That's why I stopped you and I wanted you to tell me, why are you here? We know there's a lot of things going on in the background. We know that there's trouble in the business. It's stable, but you can't grow with all of this overhead. So that's what we want to get to. We're going to drill it down.
And it doesn't need to be perfect. That's what we're here to help you.
Yeah.
I just want it to be real, and I want it to be targeted. So you came all the way from Spring, Texas for this opportunity, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Wow, and is that where you were born and raised?
No, I grew up in a military family. We moved around every 3 or 4 years or so yeah.
So let's start from the basics. Tell me exactly what your business does and why you need the money.
We build automotive accessories for the OEs and also certain dealerships, so it's really a business to business. We don't do retail of any kind or anything like that.
Stop for a second. Say the name of your business and what it does in one sentence. And then in one sentence, why you need the money. And take your time if you need to.
Sure.
Okay.
My company is Invisishield.
Period.
My company is Invisishield.
Okay.
We build automotive accessories.
Okay.
And I need to build a lot more. I have a lot more orders. So.
Gotcha. So you have a lot of people who want your stuff, and you need some working capital.
That's correct.
Let me tell you something. That's a very exciting loan to give, right? Now listen, I'm making money. I just need some money so I can do what I got to do.
That's correct.
So you, just by being here, just by getting through whatever you had to get through to sit here, I know that you are the leader of a great business, and I want you to sit with that, because the first thing I noticed when I saw you, I feel like you have a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Can you explain that?
I'm happy to. Yeah. I feel like you don't always believe that you belong in the rooms that you're in.
That's fair to say, yeah, that's true.
I'm right here.
You're like Roy Firestone, aren't
Don't
you?
worry.
You're something else. Yeah,
Don't worry, because you know I've been there too.
Yeah.
You know I've been there too. You don't always believe that you belong in the rooms that you're in, and when you're in there, you feel uncomfortable taking up space.
Yeah. That's fair to say, it really is.
So that's what I want to actually help you with.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, you're a warrior. You were raised in a warrior family. You're a fighter, and every single person who works for you knows this. The problem is that they see you as a king and you don't see yourself as a king. In one sentence, what happened that made your business scale exponentially in 2021?
The customers that I work with started having to source us out a lot more than before because of COVID protocols.
So the customers that you work with started having issues with supply chain?
Supply chain, yeah.
So you were the answer to their supply chain issues?
Correct.
So let me say a bit of what I've heard you say to me. Let me say it back to you,
Okay.
right? My business was put in the position to achieve exponential growth in 2021 because OEMs were having trouble with their supply chain issues, and they realized that I could solve that with my system. Right, that's sentence
yeah.
one. That's sentence one. Why don't you go ahead and say exactly what I just said to you? Say it in your own words, but again, that one sentence, say that and give me the numbers. When I say exponential, make it even more real for Joe.
So in 2021, we experienced a lot of exponential growth because the OEMs now, with faltered supply chains, saw that I could solve their supply chain issues with my system.
Let's stop here. We all know that the pandemic threw the global supply chain out of whack. Multinational businesses around the world were challenged to figure out how to solve their supply chains issues fast. The automotive industry started to notice that I could do that. Try it again. And say it.
Yeah,
So this is
okay.
what it is, right?
Right.
Listen, I need you to say it with your chest.
Okay.
I need you to walk into that room and be like, my balls are so big. My balls are so big that I gotta stand here and I gotta wait for them to leave the room too, because they're still in there like with business cards.
Okay.
All right? I need you to move like it's me and my balls sitting here, and that's it, okay? And that's the energy you need to have with everything you say. I brought an answer. I brought the answer to the automotive supply chain industry.
At the time of the pandemic, let me start. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Do whatever
At
you
the-
need to do,
all right.
man. Listen,
At the time of the pandemic, supply chain with the OEs was really at a standstill. They were struggling for options, and that was my opportunity. That's when the work that I had done and set up over the years really came into play. That's where preparation met opportunity.
come on. Yes! Okay! You state that. You state that thesis statement, okay? And then you make it very clear, this is the opportunity I have right now. This is the amount of money I need. And you let Joe know that you came from a fighting family. You fought your entire life. There's been loss, there's been consequence, but you've always survived and you've always paid everyone back,
And I always will.
and you always will. You're gonna fight for him. You're a fighter and you're gonna fight for him. That's what you let him know.
Thank you.
You got it, man?
So insightful. Thanks so much.
No problem, man, no problem.
Mrs. Matthews, Mr. Camberato, Mrs. Smith, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I'm Steve Perez. I started Invisishield as a one-man show back in 2001. We build automotive accessories for the OEMs, the auto manufacturers, and also dealerships. Currently I have 17 employees, so that kind of growth comes from a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and how to make great products with excellent and provide excellent service to be able to execute that, and learn a lot of processes and a lot of lean manufacturing to do that. We could never seem to hit that $2 million sales mark until the pandemic. So the pandemic, as severe and as horrible as it was, it did provide an opportunity for Invisishield. So supply chain issues were abundant throughout the world, especially in the car business. I'm sure you guys all heard about the microchips and all these other things that happen to the car business. So we did have an opportunity there. That's where our years of preparation kind of met the right opportunity. And we found ourselves really growing since then. So in 19, we did, like I said earlier, we did 1.5 to 1.8. Then we really grew. Like right post-pandemic, we did 3 million, and then we're at 3.5 million, and we're projected to go over 4 this year. So paint protection film right now today is the #1 profit product. So out of all the accessories going on in the automotive world right now, paint protection film has the most profitability for these guys.
Got it.
So they love me.
So these manufacturers are installing it like at the dealer level, or like when you say these are car dealerships that. Where is the paint protection going on? Like,
okay, so imagine an auto plant manufacturer, right? They'll put on certain small pieces at that level.
Oh, so they're putting it on actually at the plant. This
Correct.
Isn't like at the dealership, it's an extra option.
That's right.
So this is being installed, like cars are coming off the line.
Right.
Got it. What names are you working with currently?
So I do Toyota the most. I have a lot of Toyota that I do. I do VW, I do the Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Tesla.
Okay. So how much money do you need?
1 million.
Okay. And
1 million?
No,
Why?
seriously. So right now, I would need to consolidate the merchant cash advances that I currently have, which is right at about 450 to 500. I'll give you an exact number later, but it's in that range. I've got about $400,000 worth of material to buy, and probably another 2 cutters. So $1 million would get me exactly what I need.
so you got 400K that in materials. And how much are the cutters?
Cutters aren't that expensive. They're about $20,000.
Okay. How many do you need?
Just 2.
Okay. Any other equipment that you need?
Nope.
Okay.
I might need to hire one more person, but I don't think I will. I should be able to make it with what I have.
Okay. And do you have other big machinery and equipment to manufacture whatever it is that you're doing?
Tons.
And
I have.
How much equipment do you have roughly?
I currently have 35 plus cutters. I've got.
So about 600, 700,000 in equipment there?
Yeah, I've got CNC routers. I have what do you call it? Press brakes. I have plasma tables.
Is this you use all the cash advance money for that stuff?
That's exactly how I got into own all this stuff. Because what happens is the opportunity presents itself. You need to make the decision in a short amount of time. Conventional financing doesn't allow you that short of time.
Yeah.
And so you end up taking a bad deal just to hurry up to be able to get the business. You get it, you pay it off in a year. You know, it's usually like a 8 to 12 month deal.
Yep.
And then you're okay, you own it, and you're now making money. But then the next opportunity that comes, like I can never get ahead with these merchant cash advances because the next opportunity comes and then I'm already still behind, you know?
There's a time and a place for merchant cash advance, and there's some good lenders, and then there's some short-term deals. And if you're doing those short-term deals, they have to be for like quick, fast purchases where you're turning inventory and making profit. So like all those cutters, if we would have spoken prior to all that, I would have financed all that stuff using an equipment lender, and you would have had 5-year terms, monthly payments, and single-digit interest rates.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would've been-
And a lot of people don't understand this stuff. You have
Really need Joe in your business.
$700,000 of equipment that we could have financed over long term. And you know what's amazing about that? Is you finance equipment, you can still utilize depreciation.
Right.
So you can finance it and still pick up all that depreciation in the year that you purchase the equipment and it gets delivered. So $1 million. So you said $400,000 of material. That's purchase orders.
Yeah, purchase orders.
So you have purchase orders right now from like Toyota.
Most states Toyota,
Okay.
Jamil,
Got it. What type of profit margins do you have in your product?
Well, I don't sell different products, so I have different margins. So depending on how they
What's the
sell,
range? Yeah.
I have anywhere between 30-35% margin.
So you have great margins. So utilizing financing and the right type of lending products, because I see that there's probably 3 different lending products here: a purchase order product, a working capital product, and an equipment lending product for sure.
That sounds great. I really appreciate the advice and what you're doing there. That sounds great. I could really use it.
So have you made a decision?
You want to talk a little bit?
I want to talk a little bit, and we'll be right back to you.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
So I'll say this. He didn't get it exactly the way I wanted to, but I think once we kind of gave him that nudge midway, you could see his energy change and you could see that he started to say things with a bit more confidence. So, it's gonna take time. And then you just gave him incredible gems that he's absorbing. But here's the thing, unlike some others, he didn't push back each time you tried to give him feedback.
Yes, he wasn't
back.
resistant.
When we told him what was going on, he accepted it, and in real time tried to adjust. When you started to really give him an understanding of strategy, he didn't push back. He said, where have you been my whole life?
Yeah.
And so I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for progress.
And also, you're not looking for a performer. You're looking for someone that has a strong business and that has strong potential.
As you grow, you've got to be willing to be like coached and take that advice,
Yes.
and but also pulling the right people to give you that advice, because where your advice comes from is very important. But if you're not open to that, then you're just going to get stuck in your own ways, and that's where you're going to be the most
You're never
comfortable, and
gonna-
you'll default back to that, and you'll never break through. With the right financing, he could really scale and grow this thing in a really profitable way.
Yeah.
So you've made your decision.
Yes.
All right, let's bring him back in.
All right, Steve. So, two last things. Are you profitable?
Yes.
Okay. Here's what I think, Steve. I think you've got awesome margins. I think with the right lender and probably lenders in place, I think you've got some real opportunity here to grow and grow profitably. $1 million though out of the gate is definitely not going to be possible based on where your numbers are.
Okay.
But I think we need to look at, I think there needs to be a little bit more of a plan. And I know that you want to just run and move, but that's what gets you into those situations. So I think we've got to plan out what is this upcoming equipment, what does that really look like, what's the most important? And I want to take a look at those purchase orders for you.
Sure.
It seems like what the immediate need right now is those purchase orders and getting those funded.
That's right.
We've got about 400,000 in purchase orders. So I want to look at that stuff. I think I can get those purchase orders funded for you. So you can get that work out there. It'll generate a lot of profit. We can do it in a different way.
Okay. You haven't known me very long. You don't know how great my word is, but you're going to find out it's really good.
Awesome. I love it.
There it is, Steve. You're
Good
such
stuff.
a nice guy, too. Now, I mean, how do we not love you?
Steve!
Good stuff, Steve.
Steve.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Steve was just passionate. He was coachable. You gave a suggestion, he took it with a smile. On top of that, he's got a really cool, unique product. Definitely an opportunity to grow. I think he's got to get a little bit more clear with his branding and marketing, which I think will be helpful and might have been a limiting factor in what's been preventing him to grow forward. I really like Steve, and I'm happy to work with Steve and help him uncover, I think, some unfound opportunities in his business.
Fun Tank is presented by National Business Capital. To work with Joe's team, go to nationalbusinesscapital.com/funtank.